Good morning, welcome in. I got a little guy home sick today, so if we get interruptions, that's why, but it should be fine. Good morning. Up, up, and away. Chucking kid. So with the things coming up, themes of purging, for sure. Here now, but we're gonna take out the trash. Something to eliminate for the day or all around. In the realm of transformation, things come up. And we're just gonna throw it out there. Hang on. I need a spot. Okay. Ground in. Welcome in. It's early yet. If you're in this space, you can ask questions. I see you. Judgment, discernment, what is worth keeping, the sun, things that are brought up and out into the light. Ten coins, investments. This isn't trash we trust. Good morning. That was a quick shift in energy, wasn't it? The magician is on top. There's a couple of you in here this morning. Good morning. If you have questions, you could ask. What's worth keeping? What's worth letting go of? Eight of Coins is there too. Knight of Swords, Eight of Coins. In the realm of this tarot land stuff, I appreciate and liken the, let's say, archetypical archetypes. I don't know how, like, believable. That was another weird quick shift of energy. There's like little quick spurts of information. But work stuff or hidden work stuff. And fairies. What is, there's all kinds of junk in here this morning. You know what's missing? Something to smudge with. I'm gonna light a candle. I'm gonna knock some out of fire. I do, it's just over there. I'm nervous this morning. And where's the Magician card again? Are you back? I'm nervous about putting certain things out there or bringing certain things up. Because the odds and the chances are it makes people really uncomfortable. So this hermiting thing is happening. there's something about like the cobwebs to clearing out cobwebs. There's snails, so it's a slow process. Well, because you're dissecting everything and pulling everything apart, kind of in this harsh self-judgment kind of a thing. But like thinking too hard about stuff. So if we're thinking too hard about stuff, the monkey chatter thing comes to mind. So if you put a banana in a jar, you hand it to a monkey, and the monkey reaches in to grab the banana, it'll like get stuck trying to get this banana out of the jar. And it doesn't realize that all it has to do is like let go of the banana and turn it around and like pull it out from a different direction. So maybe that's part of it too. I want to dive into a book this morning. I got my bookshelf laid out. Research, books for fun, cards, and then like all the crafty stuff. I get a look at it. Two things are catching my eye. The presence of the past and like here and now. So maybe we'll do this, say, inversion, right side upping the upside down. Hold on. So let me grab this. We're just going to kind of do that book thing where we open up the thing and see what happens. Oh, this is a Rupert Sheldrake book too. So we're going into morphic resonance in the field of where we get a source and site information. Site information, yeah. Where are you getting that from? It's like an extraneous voice that's telling you what to do. That monkey chatter thing again. I can't like fully tune them out. So it's like the force through the trees kind of a thing. But listening, feel its matter and morphic resonance, molecular morphic resonance, and the structure of morphogenetic of proteins. This is kind of an interesting recalibration of energy. I feel like there's so much of the up and Chuck thing just feels very much like trying to connect with people in this like telepathic space. Because I don't have the words for it yet, but interesting enough. How do we do this from an integral perspective without like giving you too much to chew on? I don't want to like knock you down with something sticky. If anything, breathe. Take an opportunity to breathe. This is a weird reading. I feel like there's just a lot of stuff coming up to process and just to move through. We can acknowledge that it's there. this part. And this is, let's say, talking about phenomena or looking for the material proof or the more like quantum or metaphysical synchronicities. I'm very hesitant to put the words out today. This behavior confirms that all the information determining the conformation must be contained in the amino acid sequence itself. Although all the information required for the folding of a protein chain is contained in its amino acid sequence, we have not yet learned to read this information so as to predict the detailed three-dimensional structure of a protein whose sequence is known. The problem in understanding protein folding arises from the astronomical number of possible ways a polypeptide chain could fold up. Out of all the possible conformations, the protein adopts only one. Moreover, as the protein folds up, it cannot explore at random these possible conformations until it finds the one that is most stable energetically. I mean, that pretty much speaks for itself, right? You can have a lot of thoughts and ideas, things. When we're talking about amino acids, I want to talk about health and whatnot too. You can even add like aminos, the liquid aminos, into your diet to help create stronger protein chains. There's a real solid connection here between physical health and decision making, or say mental well-being. Again, where the parasite purging comes up and where, say, those protein molecules or those peptide chains are redistributed in ways that take the information channels away from the conscious capacity to make solid judgments. I also want to note the, let's say, just relationship between parasitic consciousness, mentality, thinking, and let's say the symbiotic relationship. So consider symbiosis, the things that are fused together. Quantum entanglement is coming up here too. And understanding these relationships and the functions of the relationship dynamics. There's judgment again. Like really getting to the solid core foundation, taking off the masks of things, looking beyond the outer layer, inward. Is there another word beyond, like besides beyond? Because beyond the outer layer makes me think of external, whereas I want to shift your energetic resilience to the inward. Beyond would be I don't know, there's something about being There's like external emotional chaos. But again, like living in two simultaneous worlds. Like where your attention goes, the energy flows. Let's go into the here and now. Look at, I just think this is funny. This makes me think of my unicorn. On this cosmic hero, this point in time and space where it's morphing and shifting into another dimension, or that liminal space again. Here we are in the liminal energetic space, and it's a funny space to be in. So I'm inviting you to recalibrate and consider what your projections are, like the mirror. This is an interesting space for me because it's definitely a stream of consciousness. So it's just like up, and whatever comes out, there it is, and I just have to accept it because it's there and it's live and it's real. And so these instantaneous judgments from the people is informative to the people. I'm going to look in our book again. Maybe we'll even look at matrix energetics, because we're shifting into matrix energetics when we're talking about pulling up and out and moving through and transformation. So these give us a tool to access our subconscious, right? Or to access this morphic resonance field where all the possibilities can occur, so that what is most in alignment with us energetically can come into play. But it's kind of sifting through and cutting up the things that aren't working and getting beyond the monkey chatter. Again, welcome in. If you're jumping in, know that this is the opportunity for you to take a deep breath and recalibrate with some information that is being disseminated, so that as you shift forward and move through these things, you can understand what is holding you back and what you need to liberate yourself from. There's kind of this one man's trash is another man's treasure, and one man's treasure is another man's trash kind of a thing, and this needing to reevaluate our understanding of luck. United we stand, divided we fart. The coinage in this, I think, is really interesting. In trash we trust. And we're talking about these arbitrary systems. What was funny to me is reading something where somebody was referring to the Bitcoin as like the token or the token economy or something, forgoing or forgetting or not knowing or not understanding that the dollar, the coin, the whatever, all of the monetary things we use for exchange, it's all arbitrary token economy, token system. Maybe there's something here about the token of your affections too, and harmonizing with the tokens of your affections. I don't know. I didn't save the page over here. We have like the Fool and the Dead, and so yeah. If you're here, it's about changing and transformation and wanting to know what's happening and where you're going and all of the things, but looking at things from a different level so that you can begin to look at the function of the tools in the world around you differently. Like in object transference. So what is the function of the cards? We're going into the fields of human societies and cultures, presence in the past, while also kind of navigating and balancing out energy of here and now. To get a good look, self-portrait is here, to get a good look at maybe what you're not seeing and the full-on opportunities, so that we can, in this realm, do the energetic work needed to, let's say, align and recalibrate you to, how am I going to put it? Until you can find the one that is most stable energetically, the structure and morphogenesis of protein. So we're made mostly up of protein. So how do we structure ourselves from that core basic base level? 1, 2, 3 is the page that one's on. There's just so many possibilities. Like there are, but there aren't. The possibilities are also compounded by the infinite possibilities of the things around you as well. So the environment and the environment conditions. Environmental conditioning. I think there's something here along this like level of wanting to connect psychically. And maybe why Rupert is coming up here too. There's this phenomena again, like this learning phenomena that's happened within different species, and I want to say it's come on, I'm terrible with names. I won't go there because it doesn't matter. Anyway, like when somebody, there's two different ways this plays out. So in the realm of humans, when somebody on one side of the globe has this instantaneous idea to come up with an invention or something, and somebody on the other side of the world also has that same instantaneous invention, though the two have never spoken. There's something too with like the trained birds. Come on, Galapagos Islands, Darwin. This is another one. So like the Darwinism and evolution theories, right? Where I don't know if it's him specifically or if there's like another contemporary who did the research. I think it was with birds or certain species, right? Where like one learned how to problem solve something. But this is a study that's been replicated or whatever. Anyway, but birds of the same species on other places instantaneously like pick up the same learned behavior, although they're not physically there. So there's like this resonance field or this like morphogenesis. I almost wanted to say like morphogenetic component to energy. Maybe there's quantum entanglement kind of tied in there as well. I don't know why that one's coming up. Because if I learn it, you'll learn it, and if you learn it, I'll learn it. Or how you evolve as an individual ultimately affects the collective. Dirt. it's like there's all the infinite possibilities, but when the things are being viewed, like the slit experiment with particles, like when the viewer is watching, and then all the possibilities kind of collapse into one. I don't know, I keep forgetting the most stable energetically. And so maybe that's stabilization energetically has to do with that interdependence, or something about the viewer and what's being viewed, or how your decisions to eliminate or bring things up are going to be very dependent upon the environment and what's around you. So it's like careful to orchestrate the material things. Good morning. Just keep getting these really strong shifts of energies. You guys are popping on like boof, boof, and we're kind of going from one storyline to the next. So there's like these infinite possibilities, and then the collapse into the most stable energetically. Is there something there in the release for you? I'm going to read this line for you because you just popped on. Moreover, as the protein folds up, it cannot explore at random these possible conformations until it finds the one that is most stable energetically. It's like you got $10 in your pocket and you gotta go to the candy store and you can only pick one, right? So what one thing is that $10 gonna go towards? Because you can't have them all. But you can stay on there long enough until you decide. But the decision process is going to be affected. Maybe it has to do with the fields of human society, with like culture. Human societies and cultures have characteristic patterns. So does human behavior. The A, B's, and C's. Antecedent behavior and consequence as far as your social conditioning. So you're talking about a stimulus delta. Let's consider this space is your stimulus delta. So we're initiating new behavioral patterns in this recalibration. Yep. In the traditional societies of the past, social and cultural structures often remained quite stable over many generations. We're talking about energetic stabilization and coming to global cultural effects. So the diamond is here, so the pressures around us are going to lead to the new discoveries. I think there's also something here. This one's kind of specific to one where, let's say, the mermaid is out of reach. So there's not a, I almost want to call it a scapegoat, like a sea goat, like that Capricornian sea goat mermaid fishing thing. It's like a projection or something to displace the energy on, so that you don't necessarily have to step into this fearless warrior thing to do the work, breathing the things into life. Or there's water there, so what is it that you're trying to absorb? Like, mermaids are really scary creatures. But there's something there about the Little Mermaid too, you know, like she's like singing her song and she's got her fork and she's like the witchamajigget, you know, and she's combing her hair with it. She has no concept for like eating. There's just a tool, the water of wisdom. So it's being able to look at things from this kind of new perspective. Atom bar. Here's that mirroring thing too, but kind of the culminating effective identity at the top, but how we kind of harmonize or bring together opposing factors, I almost want to say. There's like distinct and enduring patterns, so you got to look at the cultural patterns. It's like there's bubbles within bubbles within bubbles within bubbles, and they all have patterns within patterns within patterns within patterns, so you get that practicalization of patterns, right? So it's just being able to recognize the patterns and to understand the chain of the event. So again, what is the function? Especially when you're looking at an object, what is the function of the object and why is it there? All of these have their characteristic patterns of organization, written or unwritten rules, customs, and traditions. Recognized to varying degrees by everyone, that's that classical conditioning. We could not function as members of society without some knowledge of the prevailing manners, expectations, status, hierarchies, and so on, because we're gregarious. So they're talking about the morphic fields in which these are structured. The effects of habit. Oh, that's funny. The effects of habit in Darwin's there. In Darwin's day, it was widely assumed that acquired characteristics could be inherited. So the inherited and acquired characteristics. We're also talking about like protein structures and protein molecules and recoding. It's like recoding and then rewiring. It's pretty simple, really, if we're looking at it from a scientific perspective, but people want to complicate things with those words. Let's dive into a different deck for a second. Good morning! Up, and out. What are we throwing out today? What are we throwing up today? Hands? Cool. Put them up. Maybe to that, like, mermaid effect. What does that thing also hope to gain from you? There's a black widow. Death. I think there's a lot of things hidden that we are trying to bring to the surface. Self-portrait. This whole year started with self-portraits again, and as a kind of I dove into self-portraiture, and then everything kind of came up to cut through everything, and then reinvest and restructure the energetic dynamics to create something more in alignment, and so things have harmonized kind of across the board, which is now bringing me back into like this similar time and space where there's like a calling to do the self-portrait again, like post-purging. There's like a series of portraits and this realization that something wasn't right something needed to come out. So there was a purging on many levels. Drink more water. Lots of water, water, water. Organic foods. Fruits and vegetables. Be very mindful about what you're putting into your body. For balance. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Breathe and recalibrate. And drink water. Clear. Get it out. If there's something that needs to be said, say it. Instead of holding on to it. It's kind of hold an intention. We're going to do a little bit more energetic work. Past, reminisce. There's this past. Past and present, everything kind of, again, like collapsing into one time and space where I guess we're looking for the thing in common, where there's like a commonality. Human societies as organisms, cultural inheritance. Culture comes from the Latin root colere, to till or cultivate. Cultivating. That's why we cultivate consciousness. If you want to go to kelseysweet.com, you'll find the transformation guide. Find the toolkit PDF. It's free. Download it. You can look at it. Let me know what you think. If you want to like do pilot study stuff with me, kind of beta test stuff, that would be cool. Just as agriculture involves the imposition of a new order on the earth, which in its natural state is wild and uncultivated, so human culture is by implication not natural. It does not arise spontaneously in growing children. We are all inculturated or cultivated as we grow up. In this sense, culture is opposed to nature. But in another sense, culture is natural. There's like this paradoxical relationship that keeps showing up in the last several readings, where it's, there's a word for it. Something along the line of being able to hold two opposing beliefs at once. Maybe it'll come to me, but there's a psychology term for that. What is it? If you know, put it down. This one just came up the other day. Anyway. No human beings exist without culture, and cultures themselves can be compared to living organisms. They have forms which are inherited and reproduced again and again. They are to various degrees self-organizing, and they change and evolve. The same ambiguity is inherent in agriculture itself. In one sense it is artificial, but in another sense the crops that are grown in the fields are natural. They have a life of their own. They develop in accordance with the natural rhythms of day and night, the seasons of the weather, and the both crop themselves. Everything changes and evolves. It's not something that can be explained genetically. It has more to do with systems and organizations and external influences. There's a lot of fill in the blanks here for me for future research type stuff. Welcome to my tailor shop. We're just kind of putting the things together, which is kind of funny too, because I've got my waitress form, and so I mean we're kind of in a tailor shop. Drink more water. As I drink coffee, which is a diuretic. Okay, I keep pulling out mythic energetics. Let's see how we can move through this. The like weird hermity stuff, so we can kind of step into our power, like clearing up the cobwebs. The good thing about morphic fields. The idea of morphic resonance postulates that for each species, DNA acts as a tuner, which receives instruction for the correct type and components for that biological entry from the energy of the morphogenetic field. I'm just taking notes. Morphic resonance. This book I found a long time ago. I've had it for an interesting amount of time. And then, interestingly enough, got to meet and have a conversation with Rupert Sheldrake. Was it kind of exposed to his theories in morphic resonance. So, something about this one and the recalibrating the protein structures, or looking at your amino acids. Take your aminos, include it into your foods, and kind of look at the protein developing as you're eliminating the parasites, so that you can get that nutribiotic balance kind of thing established, so that those tuners, right, those like little tuning system DNA, the core very of you, can connect into, tap into the morphic resonance field. We're putting scientific words to like some woo-woo stuff, but I mean there's like research that goes to support how we can access knowledge and information for innovative ideas, potential creativity, to evolve, to consciously form the symbiotic, or consciously be in alignment with the symbiosis of nature. There's something here too, like people get really caught up in this plastic thing. Plastics aren't natural, and plastics and microplastics get into everything. And yet the irony of it is plastic is made from organic substances, things that have been synthesized. So it's not as unnatural, maybe, perhaps, as we postulate. But then you got to consider the micro effects and how those things would infuse, and how we, on a genetic level, can consciously purge or eliminate things that aren't in alignment with us. Scientists acknowledge that weak electromagnetic fields surround the biological organism, and indeed are given off by every component down to the smallest atomic structure. Somewhere in there we're also talking about anti-color and properties of, I want to say protons, neutrons, electrons, or in, like these subatomic particles in the anticolor, where again all those possibilities of things kind of collapse into one possibility. We're navigating for progress because we're trying to consciously shift through this transformation journey. We're conception, coming up with something new, and it feels very intuitive up in this space. So whatever it is that we're attuning to or picking up on, kind of in, say that, telepathic. If you're calibrated and aligned, you'll see it. You'll see the picture, like literally. But you have to practice and calibrate and do the work. And Sheldrake shows up in here too. Postulates that morphic fields influence everything from plant growth to migratory patterns of birds. Where we're getting into the collective unconscious. And Carl Jung. So if we're going into like Jungian theories and Jungian archetypes, tarot, if we want to strip it from that evil magic and understand the control that comes from the unconscious factors that are brought up through archetypical relationships of established systems designed through pattern, shape, color, vibration, sound, frequency, the lovers. Enterprising and bold is here too. The collective unconscious of humanity provides a background base for the collective memory of humanity. I was watching this video of an African man, and this is incredible footwork. I've never seen somebody's feet float so magically and incredibly with such like finesse and speed. Holy shit. And I think to myself, like, the primal function that comes through, like, I can outrun a lion and catch me a goat. And this thought of, well, if the world goes to shit, or when culture, or these cultural systems kind of dissolve in their unnaturalness, that natural, I want to call it an aesthetic, will carry us through. Like, who's gonna survive? Like, the survival of the fittest comes to mind. And I showed my son these videos, and he goes, "Yeah, they're just jumping around." So there's something about the subtlety or the subtle detail and being able to recognize what's been given. There's the shaman card here. It's popped up in that one too. Yeah, because we're just doing the energetic work here. Durr. Let's go close up this space a little bit. Learning to engage a solution set. We're bringing up all of this information and we're doing all of this work because we're looking for solutions to all of our problems. People want to deflect and put that problem somewhere else instead of localizing something that can be alchemized or guided. Pressured into a diamond. There's the diamond, there's the centaur. Drink lots of water. Shifting the matrix of reality through the use of questions. You are what you think. So can I propose some questions to engage you consciously into committing yourself to designating your energy towards collective morphic fields of cohesion and coherence. What you have learned forms the perceptual lens you use to subconsciously filter all of the information in your world view. Everything you believed, accepted, experienced, internalized. What do you think of? What do you think is your reality? It's all based on your own senses. Because you don't have a concept for it yet. So there's this vision in my head that I'm trying to convey to the tribe. And I liken it to being on a tall cliffside, looking out over the ocean with the fog and the mist and the clouds, and in comes the boat with the sails. And the tribe is like, oh, that's a funny looking cloud. I'm trying to tell you it's not a cloud. It's a ship. And the people on it. And you're like, ship? What is a ship? And what are people doing on this ship? People can't float on the clouds. And so I'm trying to convey the ship to you. I see in my head the shape, and you're looking at it, and you're like, well, I see our clouds. I'm like, no, there's a ship there. You're like, ship? What is ship? I don't have a concept for ship. I don't have a word for ship. What is it that I'm supposed to be looking at? I'm like, it's right there. It's right freaking in front of you. And you're like, I don't see it. There's something about pattern recognition here. Because once you do see it, once you do recognize the patterns, you can't unsee it, you can't unlearn it. And that's the tricky part, because there's no going back. And we get really attached to the way things are in the present. But it's hard to free ourselves from the programming, because the marketing and the subconscious influences are so strong, and this, I want to say the spirits are so strong, but the external alterations to consciousness are so strong. Ooh. I like to ask myself a few key questions in the morning as part of a ritual that sets the state for my day. What haven't I thought of yet? What can I discover that will serve to confuse as well as enlighten me a little more today? What can I do here that can confuse you a little bit more today? On this path of transcendent enlightenment. To get you go, oh, I do want a different deck. Osho's staring at me. I don't really want to go into Osho, but I think we're going to. If you want to change your daily experience and learn something new, start asking questions. Questions are one of the ways to do this consistently and elegantly. When you start to habitually ask open-ended questions of the universe, it just starts to answer back, teaching you new things. You have to release control, let go of the banana and let go of the monkey chatter and allow whatever to come up. And then just kind of trust that without holding on to or expecting certain outcomes. We will go into Osho. I think these guys are kind of like, we get it. So for learning to engage a solution set, matrix energetics represents a way to transform your experience of reality. be careful how you frame questions. You can absolutely frame questions to get expected results. Things don't always have to be what they seem, and rarely are things ever what they seem to be. And if they seem to be a cloud, and I'm telling you it's a boat. Anchoring devices. You need an anchor for your ship. That anchor for your ship is your neuro-linguistic programming. So how the words are programming the path wires in your brain that lead you to have the perceptual experience that you do. Miracle mindsets, yep. What you see is not always what you get. Expectations can limit you. Expect the unexpected. Are you ready to wake up in the matrix? Getting to the point. Okay, let's get to the point. We'll go to Osho for the point. What is the point today, Osho? Because we're up, and chucking it up. Get this up. Let's breathe. Sink. Align ourselves, sync ourselves energetically. And what is the point here, collective, to this time and space when we do fuse? To transcend, recalibrate ourselves to transcending. Good morning. If you have a specific question, let's ask now. Ripeness. Get it while it's hot. Get it while it's ripe. Now is the opportunity. Better now than never. No better time than now. Ready for the picking. That's why you picked this spot, because I pick you to pick it. Something again there in the alignment and the calibration. It's fine. This is a very meditative morning space. We are the world, as above, so below. The work you do on you is going to work for everybody else in this realm of consciousness, because that's what we are doing. We are cultivating consciousness through transformation. You want to cultivate consciousness. Cultivating consciousness, you can go to kelseysweet.com to the transformation guide. We're letting go of belief systems, of expectations, and holding out to the possible outcome, trying to control the narrative of the story and allowing something to come through. Listen to your inner voice. Get quiet. That's why there's all these gaps and pauses in this one. So in these moments of silence, the inner voice can come up. You can take those brief pauses to access the subconscious. In accessing your subconscious, you find yourself on a road or a pathway, neurologically, even energetically, to the morphic resonance field, where all the things and all the possibilities exist so that you can find new solutions and a new vision. But you gotta get quiet to do it. We're just gonna keep building onto the toolkit and going beyond these illusions. Last one. Experiencing. You can't do it without experiencing it firsthand. You gotta just kind of jump in and do it. Right, like the breathing part. Are you holding your breath right now? Breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. calibrate. Politics are strongly influencing your decision making, so get quiet and separate yourself and get into nature. Feel the intensity, because this is absolutely an intense space to calibrate the work. There's the politics again. I think that's where the letting go of the expectation things is going to kind of come into play, because you can't fight the system within. It's kind of set up and designed for you to fight it and battle it within as a means of fighting yourself. So the way to win is to not participate and to go within and to do the inner work and shift that aspect of consciousness, isolation, being in that isolated space and being in that space by yourself, so that you can do that inner quiet work. When it comes to self-healing or consciousness, there's your protein. Go back and look at the protein synthesis of this. And I'm only doing this because of somebody I see popping on. Yes, genes and fields, but also this one. I'm going to read this one again. The structure and morphogenesis of proteins. The problem in understanding protein folding arises from the astronomical number of possible ways a polypeptide chain could fold up. Out of all the possible conformations, the protein adopts only one. Moreover, as the protein folds up, it cannot explore at random these possible conformations until it finds the one that is most stable energetically. If you have parasites, there's a strong correlation between parasites and cancer. If you have parasites that are in your body, right, and they are redirecting the protein channels, then the things aren't going to line up. It has to go down to the molecular hydrogen, that very one key element in the purging of the processing. Molecular hydrogen, look it up. Healing your body through plants, organic foods, being mindful of the meats and where the meats are coming from, especially if you're considering considering parasite populations. Funny, the transmission of learning by morphic resonance. So again, in this space, being open and receptive to the information coming through. Step is in my lap. And just kind of attuning yourself to this energetic space where we can again do the psychic work, the telepathic work. Reach out to me. I do the unorthodox approaches to transformation. There's the free PDF guide toolkit thing there to help kind of orient you in the time and space, but it works better if you work with me directly. But you have to be open to it. You have to be receptive to things going a little bit different than what you know, and being able to be in an uncomfortable conscious space to shift through these programmed notions and belief systems. That's where most people aren't ready to do the work. And so they're holding on to these, say, parasitic mentalities, something about the gene structure in the frequency channel that it emits. And again, they're the tuners, the tuning things that are picking the signals for which we're conditioning ourselves or programming ourselves based on. There's something here, instinctive tendency to spring to the defense of its master. So this is the instinct to be defensive. And I sit with this energy with people a lot. where here's a presentation of different energy, frequency, knowledge, source, and the wall of resistance that comes up to that. I feel that belief shift thing, and it almost surprises me how quick people are to defend that master being something external to them, programming, without recognizing that you have the capacity to reattune the channel basis. It starts with molecular hydrogen. I think you can probably include it in everything that you're doing without having any adverse effects. But let me know, do your research again. I am but a researcher. Something about instincts. You want me to keep going? I will for a minute. I mean, if you're just popping on, I'll keep going here for a second. But I kind of want to pull out of a different. I'm looking at either a new science of life or the philosophy of art. But let's go into the. We'll go into the. I don't know. Science and the reenchantment of the cosmos. From a mechanistic and competitive to a re-enchanted and co-evolving cosmos. So there's a co-evolution there, doing things together in a collective way. Integrating things in a new sense. I don't want to do this one. I will go into the philosophy of art just for fun. I didn't necessarily want to, but since you're here, senior artist. If you're an artist, huh? Readings, ancient and modern. There's something about the energy in this space of here, now, past, present, all the possibilities, all the source of information, all kind of like collapsing into possibility and material realization through questioning perceptions of understanding. So in this kind of confusing hodgepodge whoosh of information, there will be an unconscious uncovering of enlightening. Lighten up, huh? It's not that serious. We can do this playfully. It's just fun. Knowing what a game is not knowing some real definition or theory, but being able to recognize and explain games and to decide which among imaginary and new examples would or would not be called games. The problem of the nature of art is like that of the nature of games, at least in these respects. If we actually look and see what it is that we call art, we will also find no common properties, only strands of similarities. Knowing what art is not apprehending some manifest or latent essence, but being able to recognize, describe, and explain those things we call art in virtue of those similarities. Okay. Art, creativity, exploration. If you want to learn something and you want to boost your IQ and you want to do something different, just make it a game and make this a playful space. Don't make this like transformation, emotional, whatever thing, this like real serious hard work job thing that you have to do, because it's going to restrict your abilities. So being able to, and this isn't like go play games with people, like go like be manipulative. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about homework can be fun. Antecedent behavior consequence. What is the function? The function is to have fun, right? Have fun with it, then you can strengthen those channels, right? That like whole death of the ego thing can be a game, but when it comes to the ego and identity and who we think we are in this time and space, people get like real strung up and caught up on like who their leaders are, who their cultural masters of affiliation, influence. Again, here I'm trying to show you the ship, not the clouds. We're getting your head out of the clouds, and I'm showing you that these are not clouds. This is a ship. Okay, we're developing a new concept because this whole time you thought, oh, fun games, we're just to float around the clouds, you know, there's no point to it all. But now, in these war games, you realize you're on a ship, that you're not up in the clouds, that this emotional, waving, rocking, undulating has its purpose in materializing things. Postponement is here. Alright, so we're adding color into things. It's going to take courage, it's going to take a lot of work. But you gotta be receptive to it if you're not open to things. Like if you're that monkey holding on to that banana in that jar and you're like, I can't get my hand out of this jar. Well, monkey, let go of the banana. Get your hand out of the jar and be receptive to, I almost want to say help, but be receptive to moment to moment. Be receptive to the breath. Pause. Reflect. Get beyond the illusion of control. Get beyond the illusion of I have to do it this way. Alright? And awareness. Come up with a way to develop new solutions by asking all of these questions. Bring down the tower. Bring down the illusion. Be the rebel with the cause. You know? Rebirth is here. Drink lots of water. It's going to take courage. And patience. If you don't have the capacity within you to hold two different conflicting beliefs at once, yes, this and also this, even though those seem to be two competing ideologies, they can exist in a cohesive means. Otherwise, like, you have that, like, schizophrenic thing happening. You get cognitive dissonance and the brain doesn't know how to, like, make the associations or form the relationships between two seemingly different things, although all the things have something in common. That's what the integration is. Integrating all of these different aspects into one and allowing things to kind of piecemeal together by turning inward and self-reflecting. Not, you know, mom says do that, dad says do this, grandma says, and then, you know, and you're trying to like be all these different things for everybody else. And we're talking about being a cohesive, energetically stable self by tapping in and tuning into the senses and feeling and experiencing the senses without putting labels on stuff and turning it into like a permanent state. It's flowing, it's ebbing, it's ebbing, it's ebby. Can we be done yet? Going with the flow, See, can we be done yet? The source, morphic resonance field. You are source in that you have a DNA little tuner that will align itself with the morphic resonance field, that biofield around you, that biology within you, to shift and create what we call reality. There's fighting, or there's the lovers, and bringing things together. The lovers came through, the other one. You find the lovers by tuning inward, focusing on the self. Okay. Now are we done? You want one more? I have all kinds of like interesting things and interesting books. I know we sit here for a couple hours and then like want to tune out and you're like, no, oh, I just got here. But I'm so shy. Or maybe you're just hesitating to do it. But it's fated. I mean, the wheel's gonna turn, it's gonna happen, change is gonna happen whether you like it or not, because the great balancing forces of nature are at play. And molecularly, you know, all that quantum whatever dynamic, it's going to energetically stabilize the energy with what is most in tune with it at that moment. I'm putting these away, I'm putting those away, putting out the distractions, taking out the trash. It's garbage pail, kid. Cards are kind of intense. Here and now, what do we have? There's that mermaid thing. Being able to be in two places at once into life. So we're going from that deceptive enchantress trying to be something that it's not, like the siren, into birthing of a new life, another world soul, bringing into reality, another reality, or like sourcing in a more elevated reality based off the information that exists. But you have to like go within and beyond in order to source it, because that information in the material world is being limited, synthesized, burned. You know, people try to make knowledge inaccessible, or accessible through a token economy. Whereas through meditation and understanding, you can, through those telepathic channels, access all the things if you know how. Ooh. Crack you open, little egg. I haven't been cracked the nut yet. We need a strike. Not like a strike in baseball where we're striking out. Like a strike in bowling where we knock them all down. I'm just playing. Okay, we can make this repair. We can make this transformation very playful. We can do this in a fun and humorous way. Josie, you wanna be a guinea pig? You wanna test out the guide? Go to KelseySweet.com. Tell me what you think. Explore. Go find my toolkit. Should we muse here a little bit more and then we'll go? They mistook art for reality, but it was meant to be reality. Can one have mistaken reality for reality? To mistake an artwork for a real object is no great feat when an artwork is the real object one mistakes it for. It's like, this is not a pipe. What is it really? Like, what is the truth of the matter? What is the concept? It's this is not a cloud. It's a ship. I'm showing you the ship. A certain sort of explanation is required, for the error is curiously philosophical. Mistaking a person for a material body when the truth is that a person is a material body, in the sense that a whole class of predicates sensibly applicable to material bodies are sensibly and by appeal to no different criteria applicable to persons. So you cannot discover that a person is not a material body. Okay, then we're just getting into philosophy. This is really word heavy. The life and death struggle between the idea and the characters for existence. Is it real or is it not real? If the idea gains the upper hand, the conception of the whole is doomed. In the successful issue, on the contrary, the idea is, to use his phrase, sucked up by the characters as a sponge sucks up water, till no trace of the idea is left outside the characters. It's a process which, he assured me, he's quite powerless to direct or even undergo, or even to influence. He's powerless to direct or even influence. It is further of interest to notice that during this period, the idea undergoes sometimes profound, often wholesale changes. Concepts change. Once the stage of complete fusion of the idea with the characters is reached, the conscious elaboration of the play can proceed. What follows after this is of no further interest in the connection. So basically, if you don't have a concept for it, you're not going to do anything for it until you can develop some sort of concept for shit, right? I don't know. You just kind of gotta jump out on a limb here. And trust me. I think on that note, we're going to close off our channel for the day. If you have questions, reach out. If you want to do private readings, reach out. If you want to work with me through guidance stuff, reach out. There are many ways we can navigate transformation. This is one. You can't really mess it up. Science is still attempting to get it right. Einstein reintroduces imagination. Imagination is going to be really important here. Creativity, play, again, quantum physics and weird reality. What is real? Math's mysticism is in there too. Anyway. I don't know. I hope you have a good day. Evening. Night. I hope this confused you a lot. And I hope it's giving you things to think about. And I hope you are going to question lots of things today without expecting any answers. I hope you will be open and receptive to learning something new today, learning something new about yourself, learning something new about others. By tapping in, getting quiet, and listening, observing, watching, checking those judgments, noting the labels, noting the feelings. Yeah, okay, bye.